guys? Today's video is going to be a full face tutorial and review of a brand new or relatively new beauty brand out there called Believe Beauty. It's exclusive to Dollar General, and they basically sent me a full face of products that I have been testing over the past few days, and I have to say I am kind of beside myself with how amazing some of these products are. Like, not just good for the dollar store, like high-end dupe good. Like, did they accidentally put my Lancome foundation in this bottle kind of good, you know? So I'm pretty excited to share this video with you today. And granted, not everything's a winner. Like, there are definitely some things that I would recommend over others, and I'll walk through all of that in this video, but this is kind of a must-see video. Like, there are products in here that I am going to use up and repurchase, and so you need to know about them. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's start with the foundation. This is the Skin Finish foundation. Promises medium to full coverage. The two shades that I have are Soft Beige and Ivory. Soft Beige is actually an exact match for my skin tone, which I was pretty shocked by because that rarely happens when I can't do a shade match myself, and when brands tend to send 1, 2, or 3 shades, normally there is a little bit of a mismatch there. But I think you'll be able to see this is spot on. So here I have a pump and about a half on the back of my hand. It's a pretty thick consistency. It actually reminds me a lot of a CC cream kind of texture. And I'm hoping that you'll start to see why this is such a phenomenal product. So I have a little bit of redness around my face, so you can see how much that is going to get covered and canceled by this. And the brush that I'm using here is a Dailybaileyb 957, just a flat top kabuki to buff and blend this in. But the coverage here is just so natural. It's slightly glowy. It kind of reminds me of the finish of like a CC cream, the finish and a texture of a CC cream, where it's almost more lotion-like as opposed to a foundation, and yet there is so much pigment in here to where your skin gets beautifully evened out. I mean, here, I'm not totally done on this side, but you can kind of see a before and after of just how evenly it covers the face, neutralizes discoloration, and yet still leaves you with a slightly glowy looking finish. It's just so beautiful. They did actually send me a primer. It's a Pretty and Primed hydrating primer, but you know me, I am not a primer person. Slippery primers tend to make me feel like my makeup melts off, and my makeup actually does melt off. So there are just a handful of primers that I love, and for the most part I find that foundations don't often need priming unless the circumstances are like super extreme. But that's not today, and I haven't tried this with a primer yet, and I've still been very, very pleased with the results. Okay, so there it is applied, and I mean, am I right? Like, this looks pretty beautiful on the skin. It does mattify a little bit. You don't keep that full-on glow to it. And I think I could layer it up to get a little bit more coverage around my breakout areas, but I have concealer that I'm going to go in with for that. So to keep from looking too heavy, I am just going to keep it as is, and I'm really pleased with that. And it stays like this all day, by the way. That's the other amazing thing about it. Like, if there is one thing you check out from this brand, highly recommend that it's the foundation. On to concealer. This is called the Your Covered Liquid Concealer, and the two shades that I have are Light Beige and Fair. Light Beige is a little bit too deep to be an under eye brightener / concealer for me, so I use the shade Fair. And this does not say what kind of coverage it should provide on the packaging like the foundation does. Personally, I would say it's like a medium to almost full. I would not call it full. It's a somewhat sheer sort of concealer unless you're really gonna layer it up. But I do like what it does for the skin. It's like also a kind of demi matte / satin in the same way that the foundation is as well. And I think you'll be able to see that just that little bit that I applied, I mean, it feels like a little bit compared to what I know a lot of other people might apply to their face, but I think it's a relatively little amount of concealer, and yet you still get a good amount of coverage and brightening from it. Okay, so to set that, I have a powder from them. This is called the Matte Blur Loose Powder, and I am not a powder person, but because when I first tried this foundation and concealer, it felt a little bit dewy and like it might need a little something to set it, I went ahead and tried the powder, and I, once again, pleasantly surprised. Normally, I have combo skin, so I will set my under eye area to make sure that doesn't budge, and then I'll go down the center of my face. And with so many powders, especially mattifying powders, it will make my under eye area look like I am 94 years old. Just like creepy and wrinkly and unflattering. And I would honestly rather have my makeup running down my face than having my under eye area feel just so dry and cakey and desert-like. Okay, so here is the powder applied, and it's just like a really nice, subtly matte effect. It definitely mattifies the foundation, so in the event that you don't like how subtly dewy or satiny it looks, this will definitely mattify it. It does make me wonder if they have a glowy powder though, because you know I love a good glow powder. Okay, so in summary for the face products, they are all bomb. Highly recommend you check all of those out. Moving now into the brows. This is called their Brow Defining Pencil, and I have the shade Ash Brown. It is in a format, a pencil format where you sharpen it. It has a spoolie on the other end, but it's not an automatic pencil, and it's more like the thickness of an actual eyeliner, which I've gotten so used to using my ultra fine brow pencil, which is super similar to a ton of other brow pencils out there right now, like the Anastasia Brow Wiz, just a very fine pencil, that I don't love working with something a little bit thicker and actually softer now. This is very soft, so I find I have to have a pretty gentle and precise hand as I'm running this through my brows. Otherwise, it feels a little like you're running a pigmented eyeliner through your brows and you just get way too much in there. It does have a waxier texture though, so unlike something like that CoverGirl Ultra Fine Brow Pencil, it does grip onto your brows and give them a little bit more hold and shape. I don't know if it's a substitute for a brow gel, but it does have that going for it over something like a slightly thinner pencil. But bottom line, it's not my favorite. It will definitely get the job done and do it well in terms of filling and holding your brows. But just from a sheer preference standpoint, I prefer the thinner line. And I also feel like this soft texture not only makes it run down faster, like I've already had to sharpen this a few times, but it makes it a little bit harder to get a clean line here at the outer edge, unlike something that's a little bit harder. So those are the brows done. Now for the eyes. First, I want to talk about products that did not work out well for me, so I'm not going to be using them today, but still want to talk to you about them. They are, I really thought I was going to love them just by the sheer nature of what they are. They are Glimmer Pot's Gel to Powder Eyeshadow. You know I love a good cream formula. I have so many videos about cream formulas here on the channel, but these are not winners, unfortunately. I got 4 shades. Vintage, which is a gorgeous, warm, bronzy gold. Gold Flake, which is ironically more of a super soft and light champagne shade. Pink Quartz, which is a beautiful soft pink with a gold shift to it. And Dahlia, which is an amazing metallic gray silver shade. And really with these, everything went on so smoothly. I used my finger, I applied them directly to my lid, but it was not, I mean, 5-10 minutes before these started creasing on my eyelids, like immediately. So I'm sure you could probably set them with a powder, apply a primer underneath, and then sandwich these in between the primer and powder. But honestly, when it comes to cream product, what really makes a cream product good to me is the ability to use it totally alone, because it's so fast and easy that way. And so knowing that I have cream products that will do that for me, these are a miss in my book. But now that I think about it, these are probably very versatile products. I haven't tried them on the face, but you know, Pink Quartz would be gorgeous as a blush. Gold Flake, probably an amazing highlight, and Vintage could be a gorgeous bronzer or highlight for deeper skin tones. Like, I'm sure these could be used outside of just your eyelids, but specifically speaking from an eyelid longevity standpoint, no. What I am going to use on the eyes today is the 6-pan palette called Golden Disco, or the shade selection is called Golden Disco. Really pretty. All of them are shimmery, borderline metallic, rich gem tones in here, which always call my name. And I'm first going to use the bronzy shade all over my lid, working it up into my crease. And by the way, my eyelids are not primed for this. This is pigmentation without primer. Naturally, you know, primer will enhance the pigmentation, it'll enhance the longevity, and I do think these could benefit from a primer when it comes to helping them last longer. But anytime I've ever used them, it has just been without, because I kind of wanted to see how the shadows worked by themselves, and I've been pretty impressed. So I've also applied that to my lower lash line. Now I'm going to go in with the plum shade in this palette and work that in my outer corner. And I think you'll be able to see there is a little bit of fallout with these shades. I probably should have done my face makeup last, but it's pretty easy to sweep away without doing too much damage to what you've already laid down. And then in the center of the lid, I'm just going to use my finger and go into that gold shade and just dab it right in the middle or the center of my eyelid. And then to finish up the look, I went in with the brightest shade in this palette, highlight my inner corner. So I think this palette is a winner, especially when I think about the shadows available at dollar stores. It can be pretty hit or miss, and consistently all of the shades in this palette are beautiful, well pigmented, soft and blendable, and in general, the palette itself, Golden Disco, is a really pretty collection of shades and textures. You know I love a good texture. Now I'm going to put on some mascara. This is the Extended Lash Lengthening Mascara. This I am a little mixed on, and I'm not sure if it's because of the effect it has on my lashes or the color. It's a brown shade, and normally I love like blackest black shades just to get that really dramatic tint to my lashes, and brown just doesn't quite give me the contrast I'm typically after. It's a little bit more on the natural side of things. In terms of what the mascara says it's going to do though, like it definitely lengthens. I would say it almost exclusively lengthens, maybe curls a little bit, but this is definitely not going to be your volumizing mascara. It has a plasticky kind of wand, and one or two of the rows have like longer combs on them so that you can really get in between your lashes and pull the product through to lengthen and separate them all. I, again, feel like it does a really good job at what it says it's supposed to do, which is lengthen, but it's just not typically the look I go for with my lashes, but it might be due to the fact that it's a brown shade. It lasts throughout the day though. I didn't experience any flaking or smudging or fading at all throughout the day. Like my lashes looked great until it came time to take it off. And I suppose the other nice thing about this kind of comb format is it makes it really good for just applying the teensiest, like the right amount to your lower lashes. So there's like, you know, a before and after. It's dramatic, don't get me wrong, but I just, I love my blackest black mascara. All right, I'm dusting away the fallout that I had there. You can see it really did not leave any sort of mess. Moving on to some more winners from this collection. Like, do not sleep on these. They are the face products from Believe. First, starting off with the bronzer. This is called the In the Tropics Bronzing Powder, and I have the shade Tahitian Sun, which I thought would be a little bit too orange for me, and maybe even a little too shimmery. Like, it looks very pearlescent and shimmery in the pan, but no, friends. It's pretty perfect. I'm just applying that with something pretty large. This is the Morphe R2 brush, fluffing that in my contour bronze area, as well as up into my temples and along my jawline. Then the blush line they have is called Born to Blush, and the shade that I have is Wink. It is this vibrant pop of pink here in the pan, and they actually have 5 or maybe even 6 shades to choose from, all ranging from pinks, peaches, corals, berries. I mean, you name it, it looks like they have a little bit of everything there. And this is just a Real Techniques blush brush that I'm using to sweep that starting at the apples and working it back. This applies really evenly, and it looks like, again, it's going to have a teensy hint of shimmer in the pan, but it really comes off more as a satin, I would say even matte on the skin, and yet it doesn't pull or apply patchy or unevenly like so many matte blushes can. That's honestly probably a little bit too much, so why am I applying it? Okay, moving on to highlight. Last is the Radiant Finish highlighter in the shade Pink Pearls, and this looks way more subdued on the skin than it appears in the pan. When I first opened this, I was like, holy disco ball, but really it's blendable, it's buildable to where I think you could get like an ultra metallic shimmery finish. But when you apply it to the skin, it actually looks surprisingly natural. It's still pretty in your face. Like I wouldn't call this a natural highlight by any means, but it's certainly not as in your face, on your face, as it looks in the pan. Okay, so I have 2 different types of lip products from them to finish this look off with. They sent me 2 shades from the Velvet Matte Liquid Lipstick collection. One is a true blue-based red. This is called Cherry on Top, and the other is called Mischief, and it's a really pretty plummy, like kind of a dusty plum purple. These are actually pretty beautiful, very pigmented when applied, so you don't get any sort of streakiness, and surprisingly long-lasting. They're not the most long-lasting liquid lip I have in my collection, but they are pretty good. I have I've noticed having to reapply, especially the center of my lips, right after eating any kind of amount. And it's not totally transfer proof because I noticed some, not feathering or bleeding, but like I hit or touched my mouth in some way and it displaced the product, and I noticed my lip line wasn't as clean as it was. So it's not totally budge proof, but it is pretty long lasting, and I feel like the fact that it isn't like cling to your lips super dry makes them more comfortable as well. So I think you just have to weigh with these. Is there a color you want? Do you need it to last for forever? Or would you rather have comfort and a little bit less longevity? And actually, I kind of prefer those to the product I'm going to be using for this look, but the shade of this product, which is just like a typical lipstick, this is called the Satin Crush Lipstick in the shade Soft Rose. It's a beautiful shade and actually a beautiful formula, but it's so soft that the second I got it, the bullet just moves around in here, you know, you can see it's loose, and it makes it so messy to apply and kind of hard to apply. Beautiful color, like a moisturizing, hydrating lipstick that's super comfy on the lips, but I can't apply it without it being messy, you know? So you can see it's a pretty opaque shade, definitely a balmy satin sort of finish, and pretty flattering if you have some dry skin on your lips like I do now. Like I don't feel like it emphasizes that dryness or texture at all. It's just the fact that it's a little bit hard and clumsy to apply that puts this a notch down for me. So here's the full face, and I mean, it feels, to me, it feels like a high-end face. I can't recommend just one product that you try. Honestly, I really love all the face products from Believe Beauty. The foundation, concealer, and powder, mattifying powder, in case they have any others out there, work so beautifully together. And then the bronzer and blush and highlighter, I feel like give me such a healthy, glowy, natural looking shape to my face. And it makes me feel like this is a luxury makeup look, or at least a high-end makeup look, but in reality, everything's from the dollar store. So I think you should run, not walk, to check out these products, prioritizing those from the face. Let me know what you think. If you've tried any of these products, if you plan to try them now that you know more about them, let us know down in the comment section below. And besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.